Hi, so we're here today. We're introducing a new dish into the rotation, and this is a dish that my grandmother made, and eventually my aunt and my mother made. And we asked them for the recipe, and they said, ask the other person. Nobody wanted to give it to us.
Yeah.
So we went out and looked online, and we found a whole bunch of recipes for this. And the dish we're making, I will call Chop Suey.
Mm-hmm.
Really can't call it Chinese Chop Suey.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that resembles Chinese cooking, well, we got the canned bean sprouts in the Asian aisle along with the soy sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, we're not stir frying anything. Well, with the chicken
Yeah.
we're going to use, and we're going to use chicken. My aunt and my mother both corrected me, no carrots, pork.
Yeah.
Well, we made it the other day with chicken and with carrots, and it was terrific, so we're keeping them. But we don't want it to be confused. You could say American-style Chinese chop suey, but we don't want people to confuse this is not American
Yeah.
chop suey. And
That's what noodles and
right, and you know that what that is. And I had an aunt up in Canada, a great aunt, who prepared it for me and used all the ingredients for Chinese chop suey, like my grandmother, and American chop suey, and mixed it together.
Mixed
It's
it both.
horrible,
Oh.
you know.
So are we gonna do like a haircut when we're cooking or
Well,
something?
I don't have an apron, and I just felt, kind of like, out, and so I put this on, but
I'll have to buy you an apron.
you're going to have to get me an apron. You look so cute in your apron. Okay. So we got the ingredients here, the 5 major ingredients, and I'm the sous chef today, which means I chopped all of this up, the chicken, the carrots, the celery, and the onions. The onions about 1.5 cups, about 2 cups of celery, and a plate full of carrots. The other ingredients, soy sauce, cornstarch. You want to make sure you have a full box of cornstarch. And was the other one dandelion root?
Oh, the chicken broth.
Oh, that's it. I don't know. I thought that. So I just wanted to say a couple things about this. This is for our first time doing a 2-person narrate, and this is the first time we've ever shot a video with 2 cameras. So that's kind of a interesting experiment for us, and so let's get to it.
Okay, so I'm just adding the broth to the pan and gonna add the vegetables in. You need to cook those for about 45 minutes. I think we had about 2 cups of the chicken broth and then adding the vegetables, and then I just put the burner on kind of like a medium high. Once it comes up, you don't want it to be boiling the whole time, but then you turn it down to low, put the lid on, and just kind of let it simmer. And about 45 minutes is the right texture for the chop suey.
Now, if you find that you can't get the vegetables covered in broth, you can add a little more broth, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because some of it evaporates off when you're cooking it, and you just kind of adjust the cornstarch later on to make sure it gets thick. And I'm just putting some salt and pepper on the chicken, just season as you go. And then probably about 2 tablespoons of olive oil added to the pan.
And according to the recipe, we were probably a little generous on all of these things. We tend to be when we cook.
Yeah, we added a little more of, and I think we just, for the recipe, we kind of use it as a guide. So I'm taking about, it's about a 1/2 cup. That was a 1/4 cup measuring cup of the cornstarch, and I put 2 in the baggie. You need to coat the chicken with the cornstarch, and just a light coating, and then we're going to cook it in the olive oil.
Now, one of the interesting things about this dish is it's not very expensive to make.
Hmm.
My aunt told me that my grandmother made this during the World War II when they couldn't get a lot of meat. So it was just a little bit of meat and filler to make a meal, and so we spent about $20. So that's about $5 per meal, 250 per serving. You really can't beat that.
Hmm. So I'm just checking the temperature of the olive oil, seeing if it's up to, feels warm to the hand. And if it does, it's time to add the chicken in.
Now, I've cut some of this. It takes about 6 minutes to fry up the chicken, and we don't want you sitting here watching us do this for 6 minutes. But if you check the time on the oven, you can see you start at 455, and you'll take the off the burner at
Yeah,
501.
till there's no more pink in the chicken. And then I also have a meat thermometer um, to check to make sure the chicken's up to 165.
Now we always have a meat thermometer on hand and a backup because if we start cooking and the meat thermometer doesn't work, we're done.
Mhm.
And I guess
Yeah,
it's
I'm
good.
I'm really concerned about chicken being cooked properly. And
Yeah,
then just take that off the burner.
yeah.
I'm going to add everything into the larger pot. And the reason I use the smaller pot to cook the vegetables is because it's you can cover it with broth easier to make sure that it cooks. And then so we just add everything to the big pot.
And look at that pot wobble, and that's because it went on a hot burner, a cold pot. But
Yeah.
once you get stuff in there, that'll stop.
So just add the chicken in, mix everything together.
And I'm over there cutting up the bean sprouts, which is opening them up and getting ready to cut them up. And that's something you asked for.
I checked the temperature again just because the pieces were kind of uneven in size, and I try to find the biggest piece, make sure that it's cooked. And the bean sprouts were kind of long the
Yeah,
last time,
stringy.
like stringy like spaghetti, so we decided to try to cut them so they wouldn't be as hard to eat.
And again, we're just trying to get everything on the water here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stir it in.
And that's basically just warming up the bean sprouts. They don't need to be cooked. So I'm making the slurry with the cornstarch and water, and you want to make sure you use cold water with the cornstarch or it'll clump up. And so that was 1/4 cup of cold water, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and then 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Mix that all up. And then just add it to the pot after the bean sprouts have been in there for a few minutes just to make sure they're warmed up. Now I mixed it up and it wasn't quite thick enough, so Paul took a look. He's the expert here. This is his family recipe, and decided needs a little bit more cornstarch. So I just made another slurry with a little more water and 2 more tablespoons of
And no
cornstarch
soy sauce.
and no soy sauce. But it's better to add less and then go from there. Keep checking it, because if you add too much and it gets too thick, you can't really go back. So
And we're not telling you the recipe, but if you look in the notes, we're gonna include the actual recipe from online. And
yeah,
there's one ingredient that's not in here is garlic, and that's because I'm a vampire.
yeah. But it was fabulous without the garlic.
Okay, so we're gonna test this out, and
Wonderful.
okay, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.